In the quiet town of Mattoon, Illinois, a chilling mystery unfurled under the cloak of night during the mid-1940s. As the world was gripped by the turmoil of war, this small Midwestern community faced its own unseen terror. Whispered through the streets and feared within the homes of residents was a phantom capable of creeping silently into their lives, leaving a trail of terror in its wake. This enigmatic menace would come to be known as the Mad Gasser of Mattoon. And tonight, we will peel back the layers of this eerie enigma, exploring the fear that gripped this town and the questions that remain unanswered. Join me as I dive into this shadowy tale of paranoia and panic as we discuss the Mad Gasser of Mattoon. In the once quiet streets of Mattoon, Illinois, during the mid-1940s, an eerie and unsettling presence seemingly began to haunt the town. Dubbed the Mad Gasser of Mattoon, and known ominously in whispers as the anesthetic prowler, phantom anesthesist, or simply the Mad Gasser, this enigmatic figure, or perhaps figures, was believed to be behind a chilling spree of gas attacks. Over a disturbingly brief 2-week period, the police were bombarded with over 24 reports of these sinister assaults, accompanied by numerous sightings of a shadowy figure lurking near the scenes of the incidents. The terror began in earnest with strange, noxious odors that seeped into the homes of the unsuspecting residents. These mysterious scents were quickly followed by a horrifying array of symptoms. Victims reported a terrifying paralysis that gripped their legs, racking coughs, and waves of nausea that led to vomiting. Despite the severity of these symptoms, no fatalities or lasting injuries were reported, a small mercy in the midst of such fear. Local law enforcement maintained a stance of skepticism throughout the ordeal. Many of the so-called attacks were attributed to mundane sources like spilled nail polish remover or natural odors from local fauna or industrial emissions. Those afflicted recovered swiftly, suffering no enduring harm. Nonetheless, the press fanned the flames of panic, treating the accounts with a gravity that perhaps bolstered the community's growing dread. The consensus among experts leaned heavily towards mass hysteria, suggesting a communal psychological spiral fueled by the anxiety of the times. Yet, a stubborn few people clung to the belief that the Mad Gasser was real, or at least that something tangible had triggered these events, such as environmental contamination from local industry. The specter that haunted Mattoon was often described based on the early testimony of Mr. and Mrs. Bert Kearney, who reported the first widely publicized encounter. They described the Mad Gasser as a tall, gaunt figure, clad in dark, heavy fabrics, and his features obscured by a tightly drawn gas mask or respirator of some kind. In a later twist, another sighting described the phantom as a woman masquerading in men's attire, adding layers of mystery and fear. The Gasser was said to wield a flit gun, a device typically used for spraying pesticides, which he purportedly used to unleash his noxious gases. The initial assault was reported on a stifling summer night at the end of August 1944. Urban Rife, residing on Grant Avenue, was startled awake by an eerie odor. Overcome by weakness and nausea, he succumbed to a fit of vomiting. His wife, paralyzed and bedridden, could only speculate helplessly about the source of the smell, fearing it stemmed from a mundane gas leak, but no simple household malfunction was at play here. As the dark hours waned, more reports surfaced. Each account was a variation on a nightmarish theme: strange smells, sudden illnesses, and the inability to move. No signs of forced entry were evident, and the mysterious figure of the Mad Gasser seemed to vanish into the night after each incident. In the aftermath of these attacks, Mattoon became a town gripped by fear. Residents whispered of the Mad Gasser, eyes darting to every shadow as the local police and even the FBI stepped into a growing town full of panic and mystery. Patrols were formed and then quickly disbanded, with the police cautioning against the potential dangers of such vigilantism. Ultimately, the fever pitch of alarm waned as quickly as it had escalated, with officials suggesting that the incidents were either the result of industrial pollutants or a stark manifestation of wartime anxieties. The specter of the Mad Gasser faded into the fog of unexplained phenomena, leaving behind a trail of questions and a legacy wrapped in the chilling shroud of mystery. This tale of the Mad Gasser of Mattoon, resonant with the eerie timbre of a town haunted not just by a possible phantom, but by its own shadowed fears, continues to echo through the annals of American folklore, at least as far as Mattoon is concerned. And there you have it, folks, the Mad Gasser of Mattoon, a figure that, to this day, remains an enigma, wrapped in the mists of time and speculation. Was this phantom a figment of mass hysteria? A pollutant seeping through the heart of Middle America? Or a genuine specter of menace lurking in the shadows? While the answers to these questions may elude us still, the legacy of fear and fascination continues to haunt those who dare to revisit this chilling chapter of Mattoon's history. This is your host, Brandon Anthony Tobatto of TobattoVision, signing off. Thank you for watching, good night, sleep tight, and don't let the Mad Gasser of Mattoon bite.